Hi, I'm Reverend Tim Lytle, and welcome to Unity in Marin. Today is Father's Day, so I want to send out a big shout out to all of our fathers and all of those who are nurturers, mentors, supporters, guides of us all. You know, sometimes you may not have a real close connection with your physical father, but there may be someone else who has taken that role. So we just celebrate all of those people, and we celebrate your role in doing that. And today we have music from Deborah Winters, and it's so good to have you with us as we join together in our community song.
Oh, we're going to get started with a song that we can all sing on, of course. In the light of everything that's been going on and is still going on this weekend. It's a song called Stand. And the lyrics will be there for the answer that you will give to me. Yes, indeed. For years I would talk about how I wanted to change the world, but I always left it up for someone else to do. And then I finally realized that I needed to take a stand, and that by changing my thinking I could change my life. And that's how I could change the world. Here we go. So let me be peace. I am a stand for peace. Let me be love. I am a stand for love. Let me be joy. Stand for joy. We are making a new world now. Let me be peace. I am a stand for peace. Let me be love. I am a stand for love. Let me be joy. I am a stand for joy. We are making a new world now. Here we go again. Let me be peace. I am a stand for peace. Let me be love. I am a stand for love. Let me be joy. I am a stand for joy. We are making a new world now. Let me be peace. I can't hear you. I am a stand for peace. Let me be love. I am a stand for love. Let me be joy. I am a stand for joy. We are making a new world now. Let me be peace. I am a stand for peace. Let me be love. I am a stand for love. Let me be joy. I am a stand for joy. We are making a new world right now. Yeah.
Again, welcome to Unity in Marin, wherever you are. I know we have people who watch us in Hawaii, Nigeria, France, Taiwan, all over the country, and just down the street. So wherever you are, we're grateful to have you here with us. We have a phone number, a text number actually. It's a text number that you can go to, and you can text the word welcome if you're relatively new to us, or if you've been with us for a while, you can text the word loop. And that helps establish a connection between us by way of text and emails so that we can be in contact. And speaking of contact, one of the very popular things that's been happening in this whole situation of being sheltered in place is our Sunday Zoom virtual courtyard meetings. We do those twice on Sunday, Pacific time. It's at 10:45 a.m. and 12:30 p.m. And that's after each of the service times. And so you can go to our website so that you can connect by way of Zoom. I'm on those calls, and we go into more depth about what we are talking about in the Sunday services and what is going on in our lives. It's a time of going deeper. Initially, it was kind of a time to check in with each other and hospitality, but now it's becoming more and more going deeper into the topics. So feel free to join us on those at 10:45 and at 12:30. And I want to tell you about something special we're going to be showing this coming Wednesday night at 7:15 p.m. Every Wednesday, we have a program online on our Facebook, YouTube, and on our website. Some of these are pre-recorded sessions. And this coming Wednesday, it's a pre-recorded session of Damian Brown. Damian was a prisoner, and he talks about his road to redemption. He talks about how he moved from being a prisoner to being a Shakespearean actor. He's an artist in residence, an actor with Marin Shakespeare, and an award-winning actor. And it's a fascinating topic, a fascinating thing to watch at this time as we talk about Black Lives Matter. I think about Damian Brown and his road to redemption. So join us as we will be showing that this Wednesday night at 7:15. And now I invite you to join together in singing together our statement of truth, that there truly is only one power and one presence.
There is only one power, only one presence, active in all my life and in the universe. God the good in all, through all, and over all. There is only one power, only one presence, active in all my life and in the universe. God the good in all, through all, and over all. Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah.
As we move into our time of prayer, there's a lot going on in our country and in our world. Obviously, many of us are speaking up for justice. And so we want to pray for justice and equality in our country and in our world. We want to pray for all of those affected by COVID-19. We want to pray for those affected by the economy, loss of jobs, or loss of hours. We just want to lift up all of our concerns. Here at the front, we have our prayer box. When we would meet in person, the prayer chaplains would bring forward the prayer box. And we would place our requests here. I invite you to place your virtual request right here. Whatever is on your heart, whatever is going on in your life, know that God is fully present there. I invite you to join me in this time of prayer. Relax, take a deep breath, relax your gaze or close your eyes, whatever is comfortable for you. And in this moment, we acknowledge and know the one power and the one presence, living its life as us, God the good, omnipotence. We know in this moment that there is no spot where God is not, that wherever we are, God is. And so, God, we open ourselves. We open our hearts. We open our minds. We open ourselves to divine service. We bless this service, and we bless each one watching. Whatever is going on in our lives, whatever is going on in our country and in our world, we know that truly there is only one power and one presence. And we know this presence is active and living as us. We open ourselves to be of service in this world. We lift up our concerns. We lift up our prayers for our country, for our world, for Black Lives Matter. We lift up prayers for the situation with COVID-19 and the economy. We lift up all of our requests as we go into a time of silent prayer and meditation. Spirit, we give thanks. We give thanks for this presence, this peace, this power, living in, through, and as us. We bless this service, knowing it is anointed, that it goes forth to touch us right at the point that we need. We give thanks, Spirit. We open ourselves to you, knowing we are here to serve. We give thanks, and so it is. Amen. We are grateful for Deborah Winters and her music, and I love the topic of this song, We Can Be Kind. I believe that we really need more kindness in our world. We need more compassion. We need people to be open-hearted and live a life of love. Thank you, Deborah. We can be kind.
So many things you can't control. So many hurts that happen every day. So many heartaches that pierce the soul. So much pain that won't ever go away. How do we make it better? How do we make it through? What can we do when there's nothing we can do? We can be kind. We can take care of each other. We can remember that deep down inside we all need the same things. And maybe we'll find, if we take care of each other, that together we'll weather whatever tomorrow may bring. Nobody really wants to fight, and nobody really wants to go to war. If everyone wants to make things right, then what are we always fighting for? Does anyone want to see it? Does nobody understand that the power to heal is right here in our hands? And we can be kind, we can take care of each other, we can remember that deep down inside we all need the same things. And maybe we'll find that if we are there for each other, that together we'll weather whatever tomorrow may bring. And it's not enough to talk about it, it's not enough to sing a song. We must walk the walk, we talk about it. You and I, do or die. We're here to love each other and be strong. We can be kind, we can take care of each other, we can remember that deep down inside we all need the same things. And maybe we'll find that if we are there for each other, that together we'll weather whatever tomorrow may bring. Yes, together we'll weather whatever tomorrow may bring.
Thank you, Deborah, for that wonderful song. And again, I want to give a big shout out to all of our fathers, all of you who are fathers in various ways. I mean, maybe you have physically had children. Maybe they're grown. Maybe you now have grandchildren. Maybe you're a father in the sense that you are a guide and mentor to somebody. Maybe you're not even male, but you are a guide. You are in that father role with somebody. I know some wonderful, wonderful father figures who are not men. And so I just celebrate all of those and all of us who are mentors, leaders, role models for others, and all of our fathers. Thank you for your work. These have been challenging times. I can remember raising my son, and, you know, he was very active, a very active boy, much like his father. And he wasn't necessarily the quietest, right? And so I was trying to imagine what it would be like during this whole shelter-in-place thing to have several children. And on top of that, to be working from home and to be a good father and to be doing your work and to be doing the things that need to be done around the house. I mean, this is not an easy time. And at times, men wonder, what is my role? What am I here to do? How am I supposed to act? Some of us growing up got in trouble just for acting like many boys do. Not that all boys act the same way, but many of us were maybe hyper or very active and maybe had difficulty sitting still at a school desk. And I can remember being told, why can't you be more like Susie? Why can't you be more like Debbie? And I thought, is there something wrong with being a boy? Is there something wrong with being masculine? I want us to celebrate all the diversity in life, including that masculine aspect. But I want to look at the finer and higher aspect of that masculine energy, that father figure, that role model. All of us actually are role models. You may not know this, but someone's watching you. And I don't want you to feel paranoid about that, even though some paranoids are right. But someone is watching you. You are a role model for somebody, and you may not even know it. I have been shocked at times. I still am. When someone from far away or whatever calls me and tells me that they were in a difficult situation, and they ask themselves, what would Reverend Tim do in this situation? I'm like, really? Whoa, I better watch how I act and behave. People are watching. No matter who you are, someone is looking to you as a role model. It may be your spouse, it may be your children, it may be your grandchildren, it may be your neighbor. It may be people in the community, people that you run into at the store. It may be people that are seeing you drive down the highway. Whatever it is we're doing, people are looking to us as role models. So what is it that we're modeling? What is it that we're teaching? Are we teaching and modeling what it is that we really hold dearest and most important in our lives? I want to talk some about my own father, Harry Lytle. He's been gone several years now. I miss him, and there's always that heart connection with him. But growing up with my father, he wasn't always the easiest person to get along with. Don't get me wrong. I love him dearly, and my mom is watching this and others who know my father. But he wasn't always the easiest to get along with. He would work very hard. He was a certified public accountant, a CPA. He was one of the top CPAs in the state of Kansas. He was the CPA for the governor of Kansas for quite a while, and for major businesses and clients, and a financial advisor. He would work long hours, and he would come home at times tired, irritable. And I can remember as a child, around January, we would get the tax season talk. I don't know if my mom remembers this or not, but we get the tax season talk. Okay, your father is going in the tax season, and I need you 3 boys to be on your best behavior. Try not to fight. Try not to get into trouble. Try not to be too loud. And let's treat your father the best we can. And I remember thinking, oh man, what an assignment. This is in early January. January, February, March, into the middle of April. We're supposed to be good? Wow, what an assignment. I thought, I think my mom's being unrealistic. But she was wanting my dad to have the space to do what he needed to do. And I thought it was interesting that during those times, it looked to me like my father was was being very intentional himself about how he acted at home. It seemed to me like he was nicer than ever and more engaging. And I thought, cool. Well, but I just knew that I wanted to make sure that I was good. But he was very busy. He was on lots of boards. He was very involved in politics. He was very involved in the community. He believed in civic responsibilities, and he believed in making his community better. Even though he was a staunch member of one party, he would reach out to staunch members of the other party and work together with them for the good of the community. But he's very busy, so he wasn't real available to me many times. And so those times that we really were together were so special to me. I can remember I was maybe 6 or 7 years old, and we took a big trip out east to Washington, D.C. So I was a little boy, right? Do you remember, some of you who go back a ways, the back seat of the old cars? There would be a hump on the floor in the middle. You remember that hump where the drive shaft would come through? Some of you know what I'm talking about. So I have 2 older brothers, and they're each on each side of me. And because I'm the youngest and the smallest, I have to sit in the middle with my feet up on the hump, which gets hot. And I tended to get car sick, and it's the worst possible place to be sitting if you get car sick. And I remember taking this trip and being in the car in Washington, D.C. And it was so eye-opening to me to see this diversity and to see this big metropolitan area. I remember this vividly, even though I was just 6 or 7. We went to the Smithsonian Institute and spent the day there and realized a day is not enough. And we went to the nation's capital and saw outside the White House and Lincoln Memorial. That was really special to me. I didn't understand why, but there was something about the Lincoln Memorial that really touched my heart. When I saw the words emancipation, that might have been the first time that I heard the word emancipation. And, but maybe what touched me the most on that vacation, now remember, my dad was a CPA. He kept a ledger for all expenses. He was always watching to see if any expenses were out of line. He was always watching that. And so he was not someone that just spent willy-nilly all over the place. And he tended to be that way with time as well. Things were in a very strict order. So here we are driving through Washington, D.C., and for the first time, I'm really seeing homeless people in the street. For the first time, I'm noticing homeless people, and there's a number of them out in the street. And there's one in the middle of the street. And my dad rolls down his window to see if he can be of help to this homeless person. We're on vacation. But he takes time out of our vacation to stop to see what this homeless person needs. And my father then wanted to get food for this homeless person. And I'm thinking, you know, these things made an impression on me. Seeing how my father lived and how strict he was about finances, but suddenly he's willing to stop everything. He's willing to stop our vacation and reach out to a homeless person that we don't even know. I remember that better than anything on that vacation. I don't know that he knew I was watching. I don't know if he was trying to teach me a lesson, but it's those kinds of things that taught me and helped formulate who I became. And I realized you can be a business person. You can be a person who is very engaged in the community, but you can stop and take time to see the person in front of you and act from compassion. He also taught me about church, about God. I know that it was in the context of church and spirituality that my father seemed most at home, most relaxed. He was not an ordained minister, but he was a leader in our church. He was on the board at that church for 61 years. Wow. He was a Sunday school teacher of one of the largest Sunday school classes, like 120 people or more in this Sunday school class. He was a leader in this church. And often, when he was talking about God or when he was praying, that's when I would see his tender emotion. I would see that tender masculine side, that side that is nurturing, that side that is sensitive, that side that loves. And he would begin to cry, and tears would begin to come down as he'd pray or as he'd talk about God. And it made an impression on me. In Sanskrit, we call this bhav, this love, this devotion. There was a love for God that he expressed, and it came out in devotional service. And while my mom was up in the choir, they were both great singers, and my mom is watching. They were both great singers, and my mom would be up in the choir, and I would be sitting with my dad down in the church pew. And, I would hear him sing the bass part of the hymns. In the hymnal, it would be broken out in the soprano, alto, tenor, and bass. And I would hear my dad singing the bass part. So I would learn to emulate the parts that he is singing, and then I learned to identify it as I'm reading the bass clef in the music. I started doing that when I was 6 or 7. And I remember playing with my father's hands while we would be in the service. The sermon, the message, I didn't relate to a whole lot many times, but just sitting there with my dad, and his hand would be up, his arm would be up, hanging on the edge of the pew and his hand hanging down, and I would just play with his hands. You need to understand that my father and I didn't touch much. That wasn't how he was. But in church, I got to hold his hand, and I'd look at his fingers, and I'd look at the wrinkles in his fingers, and I'd look at the size of his hand. And I mean, even as a young child, 6 or 7, I'd look at his hands, and I'd look at those wrinkles, and I'd look at the size of his hands, and I honestly remember thinking, what all have those hands been through? What have they done to have those wrinkles and to have that size? What all have these hands experienced? One Father's Day, for my dad, I wrote a poem about his hands. And I shared it with my family on Father's Day. I'd like to share it with you. And it's entitled, Father's Hands. Father's hands were so big and full. Power seemed to rest on them as I grappled with them during the drone of some distant sermon. He never seemed to tire of this game we played with our hands. I remembered the big lines at the knuckles and wondered what mysteries those hands held. Can my hands ever be so big? Yet there was a gentleness and a strength that I got to touch so little. I always felt closer to God when I did, and wondered if church was about being safe and touched. But now, whose hand can be held to feel safe again? I think about learning from my father. I think about how he is a role model for me in so many ways, and much of him is living in me now, as is my mother and other people who've been great influences in my life. I think of my college professor, Larry Fine, who was also my college counselor, my supporter, who always believed in me. And during college, I was a very quiet individual, but Dr. Larry Fine always believed in me. I think about other mentors who've been a part of my life. My guru, who lives in Hawaii, Narahari Das. I think about these individuals who at times in my life have stepped up to be that role model, to be this spiritual teacher, to be a father figure. And whether you're male, female, non-binary, transgender, wherever you're at in this spectrum, do you know that you are a role model for someone? Do you know someone is watching? Do you know that you are touching someone's life with your hands, with your expression, your smile, with your heart, with how you act, with how you live, at the store, on the highway, wherever you are? Do you know you are our teacher? I honor you. I honor the way you have touched our world with your love, your compassion, your prayerful intention. I honor who you are, and I ask you to be the best of what you are, to be the best of that, to bring that forth, because our world needs that. Our world needs positive role models. Our world needs those who are willing to show that loving masculine side. Our world needs people who can stand in truth and to do it in love. I think of my mother also, and how you've been a role model for me. Is there anything more important than how we serve, how we love, how we teach, the role model? If you wonder what your life is about, I encourage you to think that this is one of the most important things. What you teach, what you live, the kind of role model you are. On this Father's Day, I want us to not only celebrate our fathers and to celebrate our role models, but to celebrate ourselves as role models, and to commit ourselves to be role models for justice, for love, for light, for bringing the presence of God here in this planet. We are here for such a time as this. Let's not waste it. Be the role model you are called to be. And so it is. I now ask you to join me in an affirmation. If you would repeat after me. I commit myself to be the role model I am called to be. I open myself to be the best that I am. I let go of negative thinking. I embrace the power of God within. I stand in the truth of what I am. And I know that I am a good role model. And so it is. Amen. I want to thank all of you who are giving and continuing to support this spiritual community in what ways you can, through your prayer, through your service in the community. And I know that sometime soon we'll be opening up in a smaller group, but as we continue to work on reopening, we acknowledge and know that we are here to serve, and we continue to serve virtually through these services, through our classes, through lots of ways. And I want to thank those of you who've been contributing through Faith in Action, by sending in your tithes and offerings, and those of you who've been really helping the Mel and Sam Engel Fund to be a successful fund drive. We have received, in terms of our matching fund, we've received now well over $42,000. Money is continuing to come in. And so we now have a total of over $80,000. And again, I just got news that more money had come in. So we don't have all the most current figures, but the latest figures tell us that in terms of our matching gift, we have exceeded 111% of that 38,000. So it's not too late. Through the month of June, you can still contribute to the Engel Fund. This helps with our operations, and we're also helping to build some cushion fund to help us in these coming days. As you can imagine, things are different because we're not passing the plate. And so your support is really appreciated. Thank you all for your giving. Thank you for your faithfulness to serve in our world. Thank you for being a role model and being the light of the world. We will now sing together our giving song as maybe you are preparing your offering online. Maybe you've set that up automatically. But we will now have our giving song, and then we will again have a wonderful song from Deborah Winters. Thank you.
Just as we give, so we receive. Richly we live in one golden weave. There is nothing that we can lack. We give from love, and love gives it back. Just as we give, so we receive. Richly we live in one golden weave. There is nothing that we can lack. We give from love, and love gives it back. can sing again. You know this. I know you know this. Love can build a bridge between your heart and mine. Love can build a bridge. Don't you think it's time? Don't you think it's time? I'd gladly walk across the desert with no shoes upon my feet to share with you the last bite of bread I had to eat. I would swim out to save you in your sea of broken dreams. When all your hopes are sinking now, let me show you what love means. Love can build a bridge between your heart and mine. Love can build a bridge. Don't you think it's time? Don't you think it's time? I would whisper love so loudly every heart would understand that love and only love can join the tribes of man. I would give my heart's desires so that you might see. The first step is to realize that it all begins with you and me. Love can build a bridge between your heart and mine. Love can build a bridge. And don't you think it's time? Don't you think it's time? When we stand together, oh, in our finest hour, we can do anything, anything, if we keep believing in the power. Oh, and love can build a bridge between your heart and mine. Oh, love can build a bridge. And don't you think it's time? Don't you think it's time? Yes, love can build a bridge between your heart and mine. Love can build a bridge. And don't you think it's time? Don't you think it's time?
Thank you, Deborah, for that song, Love Can Build a Bridge. And that's the truth. We're here to build bridges of understanding, to build bridges of compassion and service in our world. As you know, we have a prayer ministry here. I made reference earlier to our prayer box, and we have a couple of ways in which you can bring forward your prayer requests. One way is our silent prayer circle. You can email our silent prayer circle with your request at silentprayercircle@unityandmarin.org. Also, you can call us with your prayer request, and those will get to our prayer chaplain group. So you can call us at our main number at 415-475-5000, and then press 0. 415-475-5000, press 0, and that will go to our office manager, to Dory, and she will get that to the prayer chaplains. Also, you can go to Silent Unity. It's available 7 days a week, 24 hours a day, every day of the year. And the best way for me to remember it is 1-800-NOW-PRAY. On the screen, you will see the actual numbers, but it's easy for me to remember 1-800-NOW-PRAY. And they're always available to pray with you. We again thank you for being with us in this service. And wherever you are, we know God is. We're so grateful for you, for your presence in the world, for the role model that you are. So we will now pray together our prayer of protection, knowing prayer of protection not only in our lives, but in our community, our country, and in our world, as we join together our intentions. So whether you are there alone or not, just know we are connected with people all over the world. Right now, we are praying this together as one community. And then we will sing together as one community our peace song, knowing peace in our day. God bless you. Be at peace and know that wherever you are, God is. Amen.
The light of God surrounds us. The love of God enfolds us. The power of God protects us. The presence of God watches over us. Wherever we are, God is. And if you'll take the hand of the person next to you, we'll sing the peace song together. Have a great Sunday, everyone.